In the studio this morning, like I'd mentioned, is the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Corporations, Mr. Solo Mara, and we're discussing the Look North policy that was implemented by our government. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is really your chance. If you have any questions with regards to this issue, feel free to call in the studio, 3220-906 and 3220-907. Like I'd mentioned before, it's not every day you'll get the Permanent Secretary in the studio to talk directly to you and answer your questions. So while he's here, please do make use of it and don't call me afterwards when he's gone and ask me the questions. Call me up right now. Let me know what you wish to know with regards to this policy, and I'll put that across to the Permanent Secretary. We'll talk to him in a couple minutes' time. Right now, we're continuing with the music. Here's Twisted Sister. Hey, Stevie Wonder, Superstition on Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is the Center Show. I'm Wami. I'm so glad to have your company. Phone lines are open, 3220-906, as well as 3220-907. If you've just joined me in the studio this morning, I have the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs, as well as the International Corporations, Mr. Solo Mara. We were talking earlier on the Fiji's policy, Look North policy, Fiji's Look North policy. And we'll continue with the discussion before we wrap it up in a couple of minutes' time. Mr. Mara, we were talking a little earlier on before we got on air with Fiji's stand on Taiwan. So would you like to elaborate on what Fiji, whether we recognize Taiwan as an independent state, and whether that would affect our relation with China?
I can understand, like that this can sometimes be a sensitive political issue when it's discussed.
Gold. Hey, Stevie Wonder, Superstition on Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is the Center Show. I'm Wami. I'm so glad to have your company. Phone lines are open, 3220-906. as well as 3220-907. If you've just joined me in the studio this morning, I have the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs, as well as the International Corporations, Mr. Solo Mara. We were talking earlier on the Fiji's policy, Look North policy, Fiji's Look North policy, and we'll continue with the discussion before we wrap it up in a couple of minutes' time. Mr. Mara, we were talking a little earlier on before we got on air with Fiji's stand on Taiwan. So would you like to elaborate on what Fiji, whether we recognize Taiwan as an independent state, and whether that would affect our relation with China?
I can understand, like that this can sometimes be a sensitive political issue when it's discussed live on air like this.
And before we continue, I wasn't the one who initiated this question. Although the Honorable Permanent Secretary was happy to answer the question.
Yes, Fiji is one China policy. Recognize Taiwan as an integral part of China. And we also recognize the People's Republic of China as having sovereignty over the whole of China.
I see.
So the fact that we have the trade mission of Taiwan here in Suva, and also the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, is a demonstration that Fiji recognizes the two entities, as I said earlier. We engage with them, and if you see, there's a lot of activities and assistance from the Taiwan administration that's extended to agricultural research, some technical assistance in that regard. But when it comes to intergovernmental relations, we conduct that through the People's Republic of China. So from government's perspective, it is quite clear on how we deal with Taiwan. And this is, again, not special. A lot of countries that have a healthy relationship with the People's Republic of China adopts this one China policy, in that we recognize the People's Republic of China as having the sovereignty over all China. And this issue between Taiwan and the People's Republic of China is, in our view, a domestic issue that we do not want to get into. And we encourage both parties in their discussion to resolve the differences amongst themselves.
Mr. Mara, we'll wrap up the talk back, and once again, let me just say it really has been an honor and a privilege to have you in the studio. Before we wrap it up, Mr. Permanent Secretary, is there anything else you wish to add with regards to your department or this policy, or anything else in general?
Yes, I guess the time constraints limits me from getting into any detail of the activities that we are conducting abroad. But I wish to share this with your listeners, that we are present in 13 countries abroad for the people of Fiji. So I understand that there's a lot of our nationals traveling out there. If they do need any assistance, we stand ready in any of these embassies and high commissions to assist our nationals. And the locations, the contact details of these embassies can be obtained from our website. And the address is www.foreignaffairs.gov.fj. And if you go to those sites, we are also available on Twitter, Facebook, Flickr. And if someone is really interested in following our activities, they can sign up to our Facebook page or our Twitter page or our Flickr page, and you can see the detailed activities that we undertake almost on a daily basis. We have a team that's posting these activities up on our website, and it complements very well of what we are trying to do here, trying to inform the public of what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is doing on behalf of the taxpayers in Fiji, in trying to promote and defend the interests of Fiji abroad. Those are the additional comments I wish to add. Wame, and I thank your listeners for tuning into your station.
Beautiful, Mr. Mara. Just one last question, sir, and we'll wrap this thing up. And it's completely up to you as much as how far you want to go with this. You had mentioned the activities abroad. Could you kindly just mention, just briefly, with regards to your ministry, what are these activities abroad that Fiji could take advantage of if they're traveling overseas?
Well, there are two issues in your question. One is the activities we are carrying out abroad. And secondly, what services we can provide to our nationals if they are traveling abroad. So we provide a lot of services to our nationals, from people seeking information on what to do, who to see in the country where we are based. For example, if you are in Belgium, of course, traveling through Europe, and you wish to make appointments, you can seek the advice of the embassy in Brussels on how to go about your business in the European Union. Likewise, if you are in India, our office in New Delhi is equipped to answer your queries. There's a lot of business and investment opportunities that can be undertaken by our nationals whilst there. And we have some ready-made information within those offices. Those are for our nationals traveling abroad and the services we can provide. Of course, we've assisted people who have lost passports, been victims of theft, and arranged for their return back home. But the activities that we undertake as a ministry is quite wide. There's a wide range of activities that we undertake, from trade and trying to get investors to invest in Fiji, or encourage increased trading activities between the business community in any country abroad and in Fiji. And we have this through, this is conducted through convening trade seminars and workshops. Currently, there's one being conducted in Sydney and one in Melbourne. And to encourage not only our nationals who've settled abroad, but other investors who've heard about Fiji to ask questions and to seek clarifications on issues that they have. And from our part, to assist this, we've supported representatives of local agencies, government agencies, from immigration to FERCA, to travel abroad and be part of this workshop so that they can interact directly with intending investors or visitors to Fiji.
Mr. Mara, and a dozen thanks once again for being in the studio this morning and availing your time. That is the Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Affairs and International Corporations, Mr. Solo Mara, wrapping up the talkback this morning.